Has every member recorded their presence? Representative Morse is here.
Okay. Got everybody? That's good.
Clerk will lock the machine, record the roll. The roll call shows 68 present, 2 absent and excused, a quorum being present. The House is ready for business. The second order of business is prayer by the chaplain, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Today the prayer will be led, as always, by Pastor Tom Doherty, and House page Eric Labra will lead us in the pledge. Will the guests in the gallery please rise?
Isaiah chapter 64, verse 8. But now, O Lord, thou art our Father. We are the clay, and thou art potter, and we all are the work of thy hand. Let's pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we are your workmanship. And Lord, thank you for giving us so many things. Lord, you have allowed us to live in this wonderful state and given us that opportunity to serve in this state, and for that I'm thankful. Dear Father, you have masterfully made us, and sometimes it's hard to imagine the incredible complexity that we are made with. But from the beginning, you have a purpose for our lives. And I pray we'd seek your direction often and allow you to lead our steps as such important decisions are made in this place every day. Lord, I pray you would bring great strength and confidence to our House and to our representatives. And Lord, that you would be with them and guide them in the abilities that you've given them and the responsibilities you've given them. Open their creative minds to things that would bring about results that would make a positive difference in our state. Be with Governor Otter and his staff as they lead. Protect them, guide them, and may they lead this state in a wonderful way. O Lord, you are the potter, we are the clay. Mold us and make us into people of incredible character who will represent this great state. I ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The House will now advance to the third order of business, approval of the journal. The House is at the third order.
February 26, 2013. Mr. Speaker, we, your Committee on Judiciary, Rules and Administration, report that we have read and approved the House Journal of the 50th Legislative Day and recommend same be adopted as corrected. Moved by Wills, seconded by Burgoyne.
You've all heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries and the report is adopted. The House will now advance to the fourth order of business, consideration of messages from the Governor and the Senate. The House is at the fourth order.
From the Office of the Governor, February 26, 2013. Dear Mr. Speaker, I have the honor to advise you that I have signed today and am transmitting to the Secretary of State the following House bills to wit: House Bills 20, 24, 25, 52, and 87. As always, Brad Little, Acting Governor of Idaho. February 25, 2013. Mr. Speaker, this is from the Senate. I transmit herewith enrolled Senate Bill 1010 for the signature of the Speaker. Novak, Secretary of the Senate.
Senate Bill 1010 will be signed by the Speaker and returned to the Senate.
From the Senate, February 25, 2013. Mr. Speaker, I transmit herewith Senate Concurrent Resolution 112 and Senate Bills 1061, 1092, 1065, and 1081, which have passed the Senate. Novak, Secretary of the Senate.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 112, Senate Bills 1061, 1092, 1065, and Senate Bill 1081 will be filed for first reading. The House will now advance to the fifth order of business, report of standing committees. The House is at the fifth order.
February 26, 2013. Mr. Speaker, we, your Committee on Judiciary, Rules and Administration, report that we have printed House Bill 218. Wills, Chairman.
House Bill 218 will be referred to the Education Committee.
February 26, 2013. Mr. Speaker, we, your Committee on Judiciary, Rules and Administration, report that we have transmitted enrolled House Bills 115, 40, 81, 84, 83, and 17 to the Governor at 11:35 a.m. as of this date, February 25, 2013. Wills, Chairman. February 25, 2013. Mr. Speaker, we, your Committee on State Affairs, report that we have had under consideration House Bills 183 and 192 and recommend that they do pass. Lurcher, Chairman.
House Bills 183 and 192 will be filed for second reading.
February 25th, 2013. Mr. Speaker, will your Committee on Business report that we have had under consideration House Bill 197 and recommend that it do pass. Henderson, Chairman.
House Bill 197 will be filed for second reading.
February 25th, 2013. Mr. Speaker, will your Committee on Judiciary Rules and Administration report that we have had under consideration House Bills 147, 148, and 149 and recommend that they do pass. Wills, Chairman.
House Bills 147, 148, and 149 will be filed for second reading.
February 25th, 2013. Mr. Speaker, will your Committee on Resources and Conservation report that we have had under consideration Senate Bill 1001, Senate Bill 1003 as amended, and Senate Bill 1004, and recommend that they do pass. Denny, Chairman.
Senate Bills 1001, 1003 as amended, and Senate Bill 1004 will be filed for second reading.
February 25th, 2013. Mr. Speaker, will your Committee on Resources and Conservation report that we have had under consideration Senate Bill 1049 and report it back with amendments attached to be placed on general orders for consideration. Denny, Chairman.
Senate Bill 1049 will be placed on general orders.
February 26, 2013. Mr. Speaker, will your Committee on Revenue and Taxation report that we have had under consideration House Bill 157 and recommend that it do pass. Collins, Chairman.
House Bill 157 will be filed for second reading. Without objection, the House will now advance to the seventh order of business, motions, memorials, and resolutions. The House is at the seventh order.
In the Senate, Senate Concurrent Resolution Number 112 by State Affairs Committee, a concurrent resolution stating findings of the legislature and affirming the legislature's opposition to the legalization of marijuana in Idaho.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 112 will be referred to the State Affairs Committee. The House will now advance to the eighth order of business, introduction, first reading, and reference of bills and joint resolutions. The House is at the eighth order.
In the House of Representatives, House Bill Number 219 by State Affairs Committee, an act relating to firearms, providing a short title, amending Chapter 33, Title 18, Idaho Code by the addition of new Section 183315B to provide certain prohibited acts regarding firearms by public employees and officers and governmental entities, to provide penalties, to establish that certain laws are unenforceable in Idaho by state and local government officials, agents, or employees, and to define a term, providing severability, declaring an emergency, and providing retroactive application. House Bill Number 220 by State Affairs Committee, an act relating to horse racing, amending Section 542502 Idaho Code to define a term, amending Section 542505 to revise a code reference, and amending Chapter 25, Title 54 by the addition of a new Section 542512A to provide for wagering on historical horse races, to provide for the distribution and payment of all sums deposited in any historical horse race pool, to provide for the continuous appropriation of certain monies, to provide for certain agreements with horsemen's groups, to provide for the historical horse race purse monies funds, and to provide for rulemaking. House Bill Number 221 by Education Committee, an act relating to education, amending Section 33-1009 Idaho Code to provide for an exception and to make technical corrections, amending Section 33-5202A Idaho Code to revise definitions, amending Section 33-5203 to revise provisions relating to limitations on the approval of public charter school by a Board of Trustees, to revise provisions relating to a public virtual school charter, to revise provisions relating to the designation of a public charter school as a local education agency, amending Chapter 52, Title 33 Idaho Code by the addition of new Section 335203A to establish provisions relating to the approval of authorized chartering entities and such entities' authority, to establish provisions relating to an application to become an authorized chartering entity, to establish provisions relating to the application form, amending Section 335205 Idaho Code to revise provisions relating to a petition to establish public charter schools and a new public virtual school, to remove language relating to the Public Charter School Commission, to revise provisions relating to public hearings, to revise provisions relating to a decision on a petition, to establish provisions relating to an initial charter and term of operations, and to make technical corrections, amending Sections 335205A to revise provisions relating to the transfer of a charter, to remove language relating to Public Charter School Commission, and to establish language relating to authorized chartering entities, amending Chapter 52, Title 33 Idaho Code by the addition of a new Section 335205B to establish provisions relating to charter contracts, to establish provisions relating to performance expectations and measures, to establish provisions relating to the execution of such contracts, and to provide that certain public charter schools shall execute contracts no later than a certain date, amending Section 335206, 5207, 5208, and 5209 relating to enforcement, revocation, and appeal, amending Chapter 52, Title 33 Idaho Code by the addition of a new Section 335209A to establish provisions relating to accountability of each public charter school and certain performance indicators, amending Chapter 52, Title 33 by the addition of a new section 335209B and 5209C to establish provisions relating to the authorized chartering entity monitoring performance, to establish provisions relating to a performance report, to establish provisions relating to certain fiscal soundness, amending Section 335211 to remove a reference to petition, to provide a reference to charter and charter contract, and to make technical corrections, amending Chapter 52, Title 33, Idaho Code by the addition of new Section 335212 to establish provisions relating to public charter school closure decisions and the distribution of assets, amending Section 335213 to revise provisions relating to the membership and terms of the Public Charter School Commission, and to revise provisions relating to the requirements of membership and providing effective dates.
House Bills 219, 220, and 221 will be referred to Judiciary Rules and Administration for printing.
Mr. Speaker,
Good lady from District 5.
I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The lady has the floor.
I'd like to ask the members of this body, please, to welcome Chief Allen of the Coeur d'Alene Tribe and members of their council, and remind you all that tonight is their dinner reception.
Welcome to the gallery, Chief. Gentleman from 8.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to point of personal privilege.
Gentleman has the floor.
Myself and the good lady from 8 would like to welcome the seniors from McCall High School here today. This is their government class, but they all take government, so it's the senior class. I'd like to welcome you today.
Clerk may read.
In the Senate, Senate Bill number 1061 by Resources and Environment Committee, an act relating to threatened and endangered species, amending Section 67.818 Idaho Code to provide that the state asserts primacy over the management of fish and wildlife, and that it is against the policy of the state of Idaho to introduce or reintroduce any federally listed species onto lands within the state or into state waters without state consultation and approval. Senate Bill number 1092 by Education Committee, an act relating to education, amending Section 33.1002 Idaho Code to establish provisions relating to additional math and science courses, and amending Chapter 10, Title 33 by the addition of a new Section 33.1021 to establish provisions relating to meeting graduation requirements for math and science courses, to provide for the distribution of certain monies, to provide for the use of such monies, to establish criteria for the distribution of monies, and to establish provisions relating to certain ninth grade students for the purposes of school size classifications. Senate Bill number 1065 by Transportation Committee, an act relating to amateur radio towers, amending Section 21.515A Idaho Code to include citizens band radio and amateur radio towers in structures exempt from standards for guide towers. Senate Bill number 1081 by Transportation Committee, an act relating to motor vehicle registration, amending Section 49434 Idaho Code to revise the fees, to provide that certain trailer manufacturers may purchase registration from the department, to establish provisions relating to the issuing of annual registration to certain foreign-based purchasers, and to establish provisions relating to the application of an annual fee to a non-expiring registration fee.
Senate Bill 1061 will be referred to the Resource and Conservation Committee. Senate Bill 1092 will be referred to the Education Committee. Senate Bills 1065 and 1081 will be referred to the Transportation Committee. Without objection, the House will now advance to the 10th order of business. Second reading of bills and joint resolutions. The House is at the 10th order.
In the House of Representatives, House Concurrent Resolution 12 by State Affairs Committee regarding Boise City Sesquicentennial. House Bill 210 by Appropriations Committee regarding appropriations, Department of Health and Welfare, Medical Assistance Services. House Concurrent Resolution 8 by Transportation and Defense Committee regarding Transportation Department. House Bill 205 by Education Committee regarding Education. Senate Bill 1101 by Finance Committee regarding appropriations, Parks and Recreation. Senate Bill 1102 by Finance Committee regarding appropriations, self-governing agencies, regulatory boards. Senate Bill 1103 by Finance Committee regarding appropriations, State Tax Commission. Senate Bill 1004 by Finance Committee regarding appropriations, Fish and Game Department.
House Concurrent Resolution 12, House Bill 210, House Concurrent Resolution 8, House Bill 205, Senate Bills 1101, 1102, 1103, and 1104 will be filed for the third reading. The House will now advance to the 11th order of business, third reading of bills and joint resolutions. The House is at the 11th order. Good lady from District 35. Well, the House will have under consideration House Bill 167, And the chair recognizes the lady from from District 35.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd ask unanimous consent that we dispense with further reading of House Bill 167.
You've all heard the unanimous consent request. Is there an objection? Hearing none, the good lady is recognized. Open debate.
Thank you. The purpose of this legislation is to replace the old dealer bond system. For many years, the dealer bond has been a point of contention with new and used car dealers, consumers, ITD, and legislators. So the Dealer Advisory Board has worked for many years on this problem and has come up with an innovative solution that protects consumers and is affordable and obtainable for small dealers, and it's called the Idaho Consumer Asset Recovery Fund, ICAR Fund. This fund will be paid for by the dealers in lieu of a dealer bond, and the fund will protect individual consumers who have obtained a certified judgment against the dealer and make them whole up to $50,000. All vehicle dealers, recreational ATV and motorcycle dealers are part of this fund, and the goal is a $2 million fund. The estimated annual fee for each dealer will be $200 to $300. This number was chosen because it was attainable, and it's also made the fund large enough that it would provide a permanent solution to the bond problem, even as the cost of vehicles and number of dealers increases. In July 1st, 2013, all dealers at the renewal of their license would be required to contribute to the fund. They'll also be required to carry the $20,000 dealer bond for at least 1 year till they get this fund completed. The ICAR fund is a true consumer protection fund. Dealers, banks, and flooring companies will not be able to initiate a direct claim on the ICAR fund. However, dealers, banks, and flooring companies may benefit indirectly. If a consumer obtains a judgment against the dealer, as in the case of a dealer's failure to provide a title, the judgment may order the fund to pay the different dealer, bank, auction, or flooring company holding that title to make the consumer whole by providing the title to the consumer. And in order to receive a payment from the fund, a consumer must obtain a certified judgment against the dealer. This is true of the current bond system. Judgments routinely include compensation for reasonable attorney fees, which will be paid by the ICAR fund as well. So the ICAR fund bill is great because there's no compromise. No one has to give up anything or make concessions, so everybody wins. The consumer wins by getting 6 times the coverage and protection for each dealer. The dealers win because it's easy to qualify for the fund and the cost is affordable. ITD wins because it simplifies the system, ensures consumer protection, and solves a long-term problem with the old bonding system. The legislature wins because they can solve a long-standing problem for their constituents and pass a true consumer protection bill that doesn't impede commerce. And so they are asking for your affirmative vote that they might go ahead and get this established, and hope that it will be the answer we've been looking for 3 years. Thank you.
Is there further debate? Good gentleman from District 17.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just have a Rules 38 disclosure that I do have clients with pending claims on the bond funds. And I will not debate, but I will vote.
Duly noted. Good lady from District 4.
Mr. Speaker, just to declare that Rule 38, I am an automobile dealer and a motorcycle dealer.
And lady intends to vote. Duly noted. Is there further debate? Good gentleman from District 21.
Speaker, I do stand to debate the bill.
Gentleman has the floor.
I hate to stand to debate against a bill that seems so trivial, but the issue of keeping the government out of the private sector is an important one to me. This bill is about a fund to pool money to act as surety bond insurance for automobile dealers, and a board to manage the fund. It actually sounds like a pretty good idea. In fact, this is just how insurance works. The problem is that this is a government fund, this is a government board, taking the place of what should occur and does occur in the private sector. With all the talk about the proper role of government, and then we look back over the years and wonder how we've gotten so off course. We realize it's a death by 1,000 cuts. Well, this bill is one more of those 1,000 cuts. We're saying, in effect, the free market works great, except when it comes to insurance, security bonding for automobile dealers. Is that how we think? Each time we try to exceed the government's proper role, there's always a reasonable rationale to it. In this case, we say the government is more efficient. The government, well, there's economies of scale, and the needed cooperation can be enforced through the entire group. But in each case, we should trust the market to do just fine. As I said, this bill isn't particularly important in terms of scope or dollar value, but the principle here is as big as anything we've discussed this year. This bill is particularly wrong because it opens up a whole new category of areas where the government can get involved inappropriately. I actually called a couple of surety bond agents, and they were flabbergasted to learn that such a bill was even being considered. I would encourage a no vote on this bill. Thank you.
Is there further debate? The gentleman from District 34.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I should declare a Rule of 38 on my behalf, too.
Duly noted. Further debate? Hearing none, would the good lady from District 35 care to close the debate?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would point out, as I did in my debate, that this is a self-funded. This is not a government. It doesn't require any government funds. The only government that works with this at all is in the Treasury, where this money will be deposited for the purpose of securing the $2 million bond. So it really isn't a government bill at all. It's a group of business people who have sat down together and worked out a problem and made it so that small dealers have the same advantage as larger automobile dealers do, that all of them can be covered, and that the consumer now has instead of a $20,000 bond, has a $50,000 that they may be able to draw on in case they don't get a title or some other things happen with the dealer. The dealer may take out bankruptcy, but this fund will cover that. And so it really is a self-funded bond by the automobile dealers, all the vehicle dealers, and I don't believe that it is a new expansion of government. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The debate is closed. The question is, shall House Bill 167 pass the House? The clerk will unlock the machine and the members will cast their votes. Has every member voted?
Nielsen.
Representative Nielsen.
Gannon.
Does any member wish to change his vote? The clerk will lock the machine and record the roll. The roll call shows 57 aye, 11 nay, 2 absent, excused. House Bill 167 has passed the House. Is there correction to title? Hearing none, House Bill 167 will be transmitted to the Senate. The House will now have under consideration House Bill 121.
Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from District 12.
Mr. Speaker, I would ask for unanimous consent that the further reading of House Bill 121.
You've all heard the unanimous consent request. Is there an objection? Hearing none, the good gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good members of the House. The Credit Rating Enhancement Committee was created by the legislature about 10 years ago for the purpose of maintaining and enhancing the state's credit rating. During the last 3 years, Idaho has experienced 3 upgrades from rating agencies. The legislation is asking today for 2 revisions to Idaho Code Section 67-1224. The current code requires the committee to meet once every 6 months. The committee found that it was unnecessary to meet that often and is asking to change the code to meet on an as-need basis, subject to the call of the chair or a majority of the committee membership. The second change is a deletion of language not applicable to Idaho. Debt forecasting and debt capacity targets do not apply to Idaho as we have no long-term debt. The Constitution prohibits long-term debt. The debt that is issued by non-state entities such as the Idaho Building Authority and the Idaho Housing and Finance Association is issued for their own purposes and needs and is different from any possible state-issued debt. Therefore, the existing language in the code is not applicable to the Credit Revenue Enhancement Committee. This bill deletes the language. There is no financial impact to the general fund other than potential savings of time and travel. I ask for your support of House Bill 121. Green lights, please.
Is there further debate? The gentleman from District 23.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the good
24.
gentleman yield to a question?
Will the gentleman from District 12 yield to a question?
Speaker, the gentleman yields.
Gentleman yields.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good gentleman, I see references to Idaho's debt credit rating being one of the best in the nation, under 5%, I believe, in many studies. It's in the top 2 or 3. If we don't have any long-term debt, how is that rating derived, or is it derived off some other point that this bill would not deal with?
Gentleman from 12.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good gentleman from 24.
24. It used to be 23.
Good gentleman. Idaho does enjoy a high credit rating because of its excellent fiscal management. Although we do not have long-term debt, we carry a shadow rating from the rating agencies, which is currently AA1, just one notch below a AAA. The governor deserves credit, the legislature deserves credit for the way that our finances are handled. Again, this is primarily tied to our taxes that guarantee those other agencies.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, good gentleman.
Is there further debate? The lady from District 35.
Thank you. Would the gentleman yield to a question?
Will the gentleman yield?
Speaker?
Speaker, the gentleman yields to the lady.
The gentleman yields.
Yes, I would like to know if the Garvey bond long-term debt is not considered as a long-term debt, and is it considered in this rating?
Gentleman from 12.
Mr. Speaker, good lady from District 35. The Idaho Finance and Housing and Finance Association issues bonds for the Garvey Highway projects. Again, non-state debt. So the Garvey bonds are not state debt. The federal government sends Garvey funds to Idaho, which in turn is used to service the debt. Hope that answers it for the good lady.
Thank you.
35.
Is there further debate? Hearing none, the debate is closed. The question is, shall House Bill 121 pass the House? The clerk will unlock the machine and the members will cast their votes. Has every member voted? Representative, does any member wish to change their vote? The clerk will lock the machine and record the roll. The roll call shows 66 aye, 2 nay, 2 absent and excused. House Bill 121 has passed the House. Is there correction to title? Hearing none, House Bill 121 will be transmitted to the Senate. The House will now have under consideration House Bill 159. The gentleman from District 32.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I ask unanimous consent that further reading of House Bill 150, that we eliminate further reading of House Bill 159.
You've all heard the request. Is there an objection? Hearing none, the gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, good members of the body. Let me give you a brief history of how we got to where we're at with House Bill 159. Many of you are aware that the Nez Perce tribe up in Lewiston has a casino. It's about 6 miles upriver from Lewiston on Highway 12. And in that facility, they have made a major expansion and revision, and they've committed to a $16 million convention center that they're in the process of adding to that facility. This convention center will have a 50-bed hotel, a 50-room hotel adjacent to it, as well as a convention center for about 400 to 500 convention attendees. And it'll be able to host concerts for 1,400 to 1,500 individuals. So as they have made this commitment to their well-being, the economic well-being of the tribe, they are aware that for this convention center to be profitable, for it to be a destination that convention goers will seek to go to, that they're in need of a liquor by the drink license. There were several thoughts about how the tribe could go about obtaining this license. One was that they could buy an existing license, maybe from the town of Lewiston, and transfer out there, but licenses are not transferable from a city to the town. There are several exemptions in Code 23-903 for specialty licenses. They examined those existing specialty licenses and found that they thought they didn't fit in any of those categories. So rather than jeopardize anybody's license that currently exists, they sought for a special exemption under this section. So if you look at the bill with me just briefly on page 4, starting on line 27, it states, "Nothing in this chapter shall prohibit the issuance of a license to a federally recognized Indian tribe as defined in section 67-4001 of the Idaho Code, which is owner, operator, or lessee of a food, conference, lodging facility located within the boundaries of an Indian tribe's reservation and containing a minimum of 35,000 square feet and 50 guest rooms." The license under this section will not be transferable. So the issue as we've debated this is whether or not this license would decrease the value of any existing licenses. We had considerable testimony in committee on this. We have, as you can see in the literature I passed out yesterday, the Idaho Licensed Beverage Association has signed off on this. They do not think this affects the value of any existing liquor licenses that are held in the state of Idaho. There were also issues brought up in committee as to temperance and morality and the Constitution, what it says on temperance and morality. And it should be noted that the temperance and morality clause was put in the Constitution in 1890. The population in Idaho was around 85,000 in 1890. Today we're slightly over 1.5 million. While the Constitution talks about temperance and morality, it doesn't define what temperance and morality is as to what the density should be of liquor licenses. I think the point that also should be noted is currently the casino that is currently licensed by the tribe has a beer and wine license. So this is not a matter of being able to serve alcohol. This is a matter of being able to serve convention goers the alcoholic beverage of their choice. Mr. Chair, Mr. Speaker, members of the committee, I think this is a reasonable attempt to help the dispersed tribe. This legislation was very crafted to narrowly define the tribe as being eligible for this. As you can see, it's going to be on tribal ground on reservations. Obviously, there's not going to be runaway use of this provision for a specialty license. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I would suggest this is a good bill and ask for your green light.
Is there further debate? Hearing none, the debate is closed. The question is, shall House Bill 159 pass the House? The clerk will unlock the machine and the members will cast their votes. Have all the members voted?
Chu. Packer.
Representative Chu.
Packer and Barrett.
Representative Barrett. Does any member wish to change his vote? The clerk will lock the machine and record the roll. There's a pair at the desk. The roll call shows 51 aye, 19 nay, 0 absent excused. The pair at the desk is Representative Henderson votes aye, Representative Moyle votes nay. House Bill 159 has passed the House. Is there correction to title? Hearing none, House Bill 159 will be transmitted to the Senate. The House will now have under consideration the gentleman for District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for personal privilege.
The gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and members of the body. Would you join me and my fellow representative from District 1 in giving a warm welcome to Mr. Wesley Hubbard and his son Dalen in the gallery. Mr. Hubbard is here with the Idaho Oilseeds Commission presenting information to our Senate and House Agricultural Committees. Welcome.
The House will now have under consideration House Bill 185. The gentleman from District 22.
Mr. Speaker, I ask for unanimous consent to dispense with further reading of House Bill 185.
You've all heard the request. Is there an objection? Hearing none, the gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good ladies and good gentlemen. This is your first opportunity to vote for a reduction in a fee this year, I believe. So hopefully this will be a simple one here. I'm not going to try to keep it under 30 seconds for a lunch there from Representative from 22 over there, but I will do my best. This bill comes from the Bureau of Occupational Licenses, and essentially it changes a couple words. I'll just go ahead and let you know what those words are. It says the actual fees shall be set by board rule. The Bureau shall also collect a fee equal to that charged by the examination provider, and we are going to change that from equal to not greater than. What that does is it allows the Bureau of Occupational Licensing to charge less than what the exam administrator will provide. And the reason that that is needed is because there's two separate fees. One's for an online fee and one is for a paper version fee. And so if somebody signs up for a fee when they pay their fees initially and then they change which way they want to do it, then the Bureau has to go back and either try to collect $2 or they have to try to refund $2. And so what this does is it allows them to just charge the lesser of those $2. And so this is your opportunity to vote for lower fees, and I ask for your green light.
Is there further debate? Hearing none, the debate is closed. The question is, shall House Bill 185 pass the House? The clerk will unlock the machine, and the members will cast their votes. Has every member voted?
Denny.
Does any member wish to change his vote? The clerk will lock the machine and record the roll. Roll call shows 69 aye, 0 nay, 1 absent and excused. House Bill 185 was passed the House. Is there correction to title? Hearing none, House Bill 185 will be transmitted to the Senate. The House will now have under consideration House Bill 175. Good lady from District 7.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that the further reading of House Bill 175 be dispensed with.
You've all heard the unanimous consent request. Is there an objection? Hearing none, the good lady has the floor.
Mr. Speaker and people of the body, House Bill 175, simply put, is a cleanup on a revision to Idaho Code 45-805 during last year's legislative session. The intent of the revision to 45-805 lien law was to give the Idaho horse industry another option to sell livestock via the 45-805 lien law. Last year's revision allowed the horse industry to have just a public auction rather than a licensed public livestock auction market. The reason behind the necessary change is because the Idaho horse market was literally destroyed by the federal ban on horse slaughter. As a result, there are virtually no licensed public livestock auction market horse sales anymore. In fact, statewide, there are only 2 markets who still have horse sales, but they are once a month and one of the markets curtails its monthly horse sale during fall cattle rush from September to March. Needless to say, people needing to utilize the 45-805 lien law for horses have almost nowhere to go. Unfortunately, when the Idaho Code 45-805 was revised, the law also gave the Idaho cattle industry the same option. Licensed public livestock auction markets are by far the best way to sell any type of market and has never been a problem. There are cattle sales across the state of Idaho every day of the week except for Sundays. Needless to say, when the revised version came out, it started a firestorm with the Idaho Livestock Auction Association, among others, which led us to where we are today. House Bill 175 separates equines from bovine in the revised 45-805 lien law as it was originally intended. House Bill 175 also clarifies, instead of having a public auction, which implies having to hire an auction for equines to sale offered to the public. They have the following support: the Idaho Cattle Auction, Idaho Auction Association, North Idaho Cattle Association, Owyhee County Cattle Association, Idaho Horse Council, and Idaho Farm Bureau. I ask for your green light on this bill.
Is there further debate? Hearing none, the debate is closed. The question is, shall House Bill 175 pass the House? The clerk will unlock the machine and the members will cast their votes. Has every member voted? Representative Hansey. Does any member wish to change his vote? Clerk will lock the machine and record the roll. Roll call shows 69 ayes, 0 nay, 1 absent and excused. House Bill 175 has passed the House. Is there a correction to title? Hearing none, House Bill 175 will be transmitted to the Senate. The gentleman from District 14.
Mr. Speaker, point of personal privilege and then a motion.
Gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. The next two bills kind of go together, but we need to flip them around so that we hear House Bill 118 first and then House Bill 117. So, Mr. Speaker, to ask unanimous consent that the third reading calendar be readjusted with House Bill 118 at the top of the third reading calendar and House Bill 117 directly below it.
You've all heard the unanimous consent request to reorder the calendar. Is there an objection? Hearing none, so ordered. The House will now have under consideration House Bill 118. The gentleman from District 32.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the body, I ask unanimous consent to dispense with further reading of House Bill 118.
Without objection, the gentleman has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, with every fee decrease comes a corresponding fee increase. It was only two bills apart there, but Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, members of the body, House Bill 118 seeks to generate some funding for our airports in the state of Idaho. There's been a significant loss of revenue lately because of the decrease in backcountry flying and whatnot, and the fuel tax on aviation fuel. And so we're having trouble maintaining a lot of these airports that don't qualify for federal funds. So what this bill does is asks for the registration fee on airplanes to be increased from 1 cent per gross weight of an airplane to 3 cents for gross weight of an airplane. To illustrate that, if you have a Cessna 182, for instance, it's an airplane that's a kind of compared to the four-door Impala car, it's the common, ordinary, great backcountry, good, solid airplane. That airplane is certified for a gross weight, depending on what year, but anywhere from 2,650 pounds to about 2,950 pounds. So currently it's costing anywhere from $26.50 to register that airplane a year to a little less than $30. This bill would raise those fees to just slightly less than $90 a year. The last time the registration weight fee was raised on aircraft was in 1990. The fees that are generated by this fee increase, they go to deal with things like pilot safety programs, search and rescue training, backcountry airport maintenance. Some of those backcountry strips are like Antelope Valley, Bear Trap, Big Creek, Southern Big Butte. Some of the community airports that are affected by this, and there's a complete list here, but I could expand on a few. Malad City, Soda Springs, Glens Ferry, Emmett, Payette, St. Anthony, Rigby. Airports like that don't qualify for funds. So this fund would generate about $167,000 that the department could use, the Transportation and Aeronautics Division could use to do maintenance and to do training on safety and back pilot on search and rescue and pilot safety seminars throughout the state. So it's much needed. There's not universal support. There's never universal support for a fee increase. There's considerable support within the industry for this legislation. I would also point out that the flip side of this, if you choose not to register an airplane in the state of Idaho, then it is assessed by the county assessor as personal property. So it almost universally is to a person's advantage to register rather than to pay personal property tax on these airplanes. And with that, I could provide more information, but that's the nuts and bolts of what this legislation does. Raises the fee from 1 cent to 3 cents to generate fees within to help the department with backcountry airports and these airports in communities that don't qualify for state funds. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll stand for questions.
Is there further debate? The gentleman from District 24.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the good gentleman yield to a question?
Will the gentleman yield?
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman yields.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good gentleman. On page 3, line 19, where we talk about this exemption having to do with aircraft for hire, such things as dusting, seating, spraying. The next line down, line 19, says that the operation is engaged casually or continuously. Does the term casually mean at any point during the year? Or is it, does one incident for hire constitute casually? Or does it cover all situations? Or is there some sort of standard that's applied there?
Gentleman from 32.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Speaker, good gentleman from 24. I don't specifically know that. I will tell you that commercial aircraft come under a different section of FAA code, and they're either operated under usually Part 121 or Part 135. And I can't tell you specifically about the use of spray planes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, good gentleman.
Is there further debate? Hearing none, the debate is closed. The question is, shall House Bill 118 pass the House? The clerk will unlock the machine and the members will cast their votes. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change his vote? The clerk will lock the machine and record the roll. The roll call shows 49 aye, 20 nay, 1 absent, excused. House Bill 118 has passed the House. Is there a correction to title? Hearing none, House Bill 118 will be transmitted to the Senate. The House will now have under consideration House Bill 117. The gentleman from District 32.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that we dispense with further reading of House Bill 117.
You've all heard the request. Is there an objection? Hearing none, the good gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the body. With all good legislation comes even some better legislation. House Bill 117 is a fee reduction, if you can believe. So currently in the state of Idaho, there's a $6 requirement for pilots to register. Golly, I look down here and yes, there are currently about 2,100 registered pilots in Idaho of the 5,900 that hold pilot certificates within the state. This registration fee is a $6 fee, so you can see if all 6,000 people registered, we'd generate $36,000. The problem is only 2,100 people are registering. The fee's generating about $13,500 a year. With the passage of House Bill 118, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, if I may refer to previous legislation, we just established the fund to which now allows us to do away with this pilot registration requirement that was in the code. So this was a lot of people didn't know about this requirement, and there are members of the body here that hold pilot certificates, some of which are registered pilots with the state and some which are not, and I wouldn't want to mention names. But so by eliminating this registration, we eliminate the $6 fee. We just moved it to aircraft registration. There are a couple other additions that are strictly housekeeping, but what they do is define what an aircraft is, the fact that powered parachutes are not considered aircraft in the state of Idaho, and they're housekeeping in nature. So the major portion of 117 is to eliminate the need to register and the $6 registration requirement for private pilots. With that, I'll stand for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further debate? Good lady from District 6.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the gentleman from 32 yield for
the
question?
Gentleman yield.
Mr. Speaker, reluctantly.
The gentleman yields.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentleman from 32, did I read it correctly, though? Doesn't 117 still contain the 1 cent? I thought I was looking at it, and it's got the 1 cent per pound instead of the one we just voted for that's 3 cents per pound.
Gentleman from 32.
Mr. Speaker, good lady from 6, I believe. You know, I thought we repealed that with the 118. So that was my understanding that the registration is now only in 118, if we may refer to that. And we did away with the need for pilot registration.
I may be able to clarify that, good lady. Obviously, 118 did not amend any code at this point, and so if it's referencing the same code, then it would have the old number in it because it has not been changed yet. In many ways, this could be considered a trailer bill.
Mr. Speaker, if I may.
Gentleman from 32 is the floor.
Mr. Speaker, your interpretation is correct, and Mr. Speaker, that's why the order of which we handled the bills was important. We felt from an administration standpoint that we held with 118 before 117. So when the new code is written, it will simply be 3 cents instead of 1 cent that is in 117. When the two bills are engrossed in the new code section at the end of the year when they redo all the codes. I need an attorney to help me with the proper language here. But Mr. Chairman, I'd also note that it's terrible when you have to yield to someone who knows more about the issue than you do. So,
and I know the feeling. Good lady from District 6.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and gentleman from 32. I just
for another question or for debate?
No, it was just a thank you.
All right. He says you're welcome. Good gentleman from District 20.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to recall. I can't even say the right word. Rule 38, this will affect me. I'm a pilot, and I'm a registered pilot in the state of Idaho for now. Thank you. And I do intend to vote.
You're duly noted. The gentleman from 32.
If we're having confession, I am a licensed pilot, but I'm an unregistered licensed pilot. So under Rule of 38, I am an unregistered licensed pilot in the state of Idaho, without a current pilot certificate, by the way.
The gentleman's declaration is duly noted. Is there further debate? Hearing none, the debate is closed. The question is, shall House Bill 117 pass the House? The clerk will unlock the machine and the members will cast their votes. Have all the members voted?
DeMordaunt, Crane.
Representative Wood, 35. Does any member wish to change his vote? The clerk will lock the machine and record the roll. The roll call shows 69 ayes, 0 nay, 1 absent and excused. House Bill 117 has passed the House. Is there correction to title? Hearing none, House Bill 117 will be transmitted to the Senate. Good gentleman from District 14.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that the remaining bills on the third reading calendar hold their place one legislative day.
You've all heard the request. Is there an objection? Hearing none, the remaining bills on the third reading calendar will hold their place for one legislative day. The House will now, without objection, advance to the 15th order of business, announcements. Are there announcements? Gentleman from 22.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and ladies and gentlemen. Just a reminder, tomorrow night is the go-kart racing where the House competes against the Senate. And all of you might be aware, Marv Hagedorn moved to the Senate, so we would like to make sure the trophy doesn't move with him. And also that family members and pages are invited to go along with for the go-kart racing. There will be pizza, soda, and water there, so please remember that tomorrow night. Starts at 6:30. Thank you.
Are there further announcements? The clerk may read.
Following are the Standing Committee meeting announcements for this afternoon. Agricultural Affairs Committee will meet this afternoon at 1:30, East Wing, Room 42, Andrus, Chairman. Environment, Energy, and Technology Committee will meet this afternoon at 1:30, East Wing, Room 41, Raybould, Chairman. Local Government Committee will not meet this afternoon, Barrett, Chairman. Transportation and Defense Committee will meet this afternoon at 1:30, East Wing, Room 40, Palmer, Chairman. For tomorrow morning, Education Committee will meet tomorrow morning, Wednesday, February 27th at 9 a.m., East Wing, Room 41, DeMordaunt, Chairman. Health and Welfare Committee will meet tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., East Wing, Room 20, Wood, Chairman. State Affairs Committee will meet tomorrow morning at 9:30, East Wing, Room 40, Lurcher, Chairman. Revenue and Taxation Committee will meet tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., East Wing, Room 42, Collins, Chairman.
The House will now advance to the 16th order of business, adjournment. The House is at the 16th order. Good gentleman from District 14.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House do now adjourn until the hour of 11 a.m., Wednesday, February 27, 2013.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
You've all heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries, and the House will stand adjourned until the hour of 11 a.m., Wednesday, February 27, 2013.